This is Cromar with TGN, welcoming you to Blackwing Descent. Yes, this is the first boss, or at least one of the early bosses of Blackwing Descent, Omnitron Defense System. And this has been opened up for raid testing for only a 3-hour window. And I was incredibly lucky to be able to take part in this raid test and get some footage for you guys. So hopefully this should be fun. These are just trash mobs here. The only thing to these trash mobs is don't stand in the fire. And our group fails to do that, so we did wipe once, and this is the second try where we killed them. Nothing special to all these trash mobs, but anyway, I'm going to talk a little about this instance. This is, of course, on Black Rock Mountain. You enter by going to Nefarian's platform. You actually fly up to the platform from the eastern side of the mountain, on the Searing Gorge side. It's totally cool. I mean, it's really cool to fly up there. There's also an anvil outside that acts as a repair vendor. It's called like Rusty Anvil or something. So you can repair your gear by just walking outside. Now, I don't know if that's permanent, if that's just a beta thing or what, but either way, it's pretty cool. So yeah, this Omnitron's fun boss, and as soon as we get to him, I'll go over his specs for a bit. But this group here we have as a pug, and I didn't form the pug, and the raid leader kind of sucks, so he actually winds up being the first person to bail, which is hilarious, and I wound up reforming the raid. So on to the boss. Omnitron is actually 4 bosses in one: Magmatron, Electron, Arcanotron, and Toxitron. They have a shared 32 million health pool. I'm playing a tank here. What we're doing is having the DK tank, the other tank pull the first guy, and when the second guy spawns, I'm going to jump on him. That AOE you just saw there is just a simple jet of fire that you need to stand in the spot where it doesn't hit you. This spell he's casting now, Acquiring Target. He picks a target and shoots a flamethrower at them. I wind up saving this guy with Safeguard, but I take some damage myself. But that's okay because my mob wasn't up yet. Now, take a look at the energy bar for Magmatron there. It says about 60, it's ticking down. When it hits 50, the next guy is going to spawn. So be ready for that if you're tanking. Okay, there he goes. There's Electron, so I'm going to pick him up and get him out of the way. Now, at first I decided that we were going to try to hold them next to each other so that like the DPS, incidental AOE could hit, but that didn't really work out. I still felt like that could work. Now, at this time I got hit with that spark spell from Electron, and I also got targeted by the fire jet at the same time, and that killed me. The spark spell gets placed on one person and damages all nearby allies, so if you're a DPS or a healer and you get that thing, get out of the way. If a tank gets it, then you're in melee range. You need to be aware of that and move out of the way as well, because that tank really can't move, because the boss is just going to move with him. So here comes the second pull. Notice that we started with Toxitron this time. Whichever you had up last is going to be the one that you get the next time if you wipe. So, but that's not important. They're all essentially the same. They just have a variety of abilities you need to watch out for. So Toxitron, same deal with his energy. See how it's ticking down. He does poison, whereas Magmatron did fire. Electron does electricity. Arcanotron does arcane. So that's pretty obvious. I want to talk about this poison protocol he's casting right now. It causes those slimes to come out. Now, we didn't figure this out right away, but what happens is the slimes pick a target and run towards them. When they hit the target, they explode, and they deal a crap load of damage. It's like 100k nature damage, so don't get hit by that. If you are standing in a slime as well, you take like 5k a tick or something like that, so it's a decent amount. Now, what we need to do to defeat those slimes is, first of all, have your ranged DPS kill the slimes. That's really important. Second, people need to be aware, and if there's a slime coming towards them, they need to run, they need to kite it. Between those two things, it should be no problem. Now, as far as I can tell, the slimes do not go after the tank that's tanking Toxitron. Now, I just made a big mistake with the fire jet there, and next time I do that, I'll show you, I'll explain exactly what I was doing wrong, and show you how to do that. Okay, now he's going to send out this, Toxitron just sent out this big poison cloud, so I pulled the boss out of the poison cloud. Later we figured out we actually need to put the boss in the poison cloud, but I will get to that later. Okay, here comes the fire circle. I'm going to do this again. Now, my logic was that this guy is running in a circle, so I need to just follow him so that it will, so I'll stay out of the fire. But that was wrong. What you actually want to do is stand still. It's actually why I wasn't following him, he was following me. That's pretty stupid of me. But I figured it out pretty quickly. I think I only did this like 2 or 3 times before I figured it out. So what you want to do is stand there and let the fire jet hit you if you're the tank. If you're a DPS or a healer, you do want to move. So to your tank, stand there, let the fire hit you. DPS or healer, move. Now, he just cast his focus thing, his flamethrower. That's different. Incineration security measures is the big AOE. The flamethrower only hits one person. So the flamethrower you need to avoid either way. It's not hard to tell the difference because the flamethrower opens with a big red beam, so you can tell what's going on. It's not a problem. This wipe was mostly caused by fatigue. Okay, now the boss just shut down and Arcanotron spawned. I wanted to show that to you. Arcanotron spawned, so I had to pick him up. Now you can tell when your guy's about to despawn because his energy is low. When you see the energy get down to about 5 or 4, then you know that he's about to shut down. So you need to get ready to pick up the next guy. You can tell who's spawning next because there's going to be a big beam pointing towards them. And yeah, that's a wipe. Alright, well that was a pretty failed group. We actually wound up kicking 4 of the DPS and 1 healer. Some of them left, including the raid leader. I took over the raid at this point. We re-recruited some people and got the raid back into shape. Actually we lost 2 healers, actually, I believe. Yeah, we lost 2 healers. So we replaced a ton of people. Out of the 4 DPS we replaced, 3 of them turned out to be really good. 1 of them turned out to be that mage. That was terrible. And so, you know, that's pretty good for a pug, though. And for the heals, both of the healers we got were really good. So we started doing much better. We actually got some really good attempts. Now, I did skip like 4 or 5 wipes with the old group because we didn't really learn anything on those wipes because they were pretty bad. So anyway, I want to talk about some of the more of the boss abilities now that we have a little bit more time in between wipes. Notice how the toxic guy is spawning. You can see by the green stream that's on top of him. There we go. So as soon as he pops up, you can grab him. And again, if you're the off tank here, and the way you can know that your guy's about to spawn in the beginning of the fight is because the other guy has 50 energy. So you're going to get a change in bosses every 50 energy. This is for the 10 man, of course. Now, here comes the Poison Protocol. Our DPS are going to get on top of that. In the original group, our Warlock, who is awesome, was the only person who was doing any damage. Now, our new DPS, we have 3 range and 1 melee, and the range actually do a pretty good job of picking up the slimes, and that makes a huge difference. The slimes are really key. I think the slimes are probably the most important aspect of this fight, because they do 100k damage in an AOE if they actually hit their target. Okay, so I'm going to pull this guy out of the toxic gas. And, okay, there we go. Now, what we learned through a little bit of experimentation here is that you actually don't want to pull the boss out of the toxic gas. You want to keep the boss in the toxic gas, as silly as that sounds, because it actually gives a debuff to whoever's in the gas that increases the damage taken by 50%, and that goes for bosses too. So that will greatly increase your DPS and help you kill the boss. You want to drag both bosses in the poison cloud if you can. Now, I want to differentiate between Poison Cloud and Poison Pool. The Poison Pool is caused by the death of one of the slimes. You don't want to stand in that, obviously. But the Poison Cloud, you want to put the boss in it, but keep yourself out, especially if you're tanking. Okay, now the guy's about to shut down, so I'm going to grab Omnitron. Very nice and easy transfer there. I have Vigilance up on the off tank, just in case, because that way I have permanent taunt. But here we go. Here's the flame jets, and I didn't do the stupid thing. I actually stood there and took it. Now, graphically, it looks like I should be able to just stand there and not get hit by it, because it shouldn't be hitting in front of him, but it does hit you. Okay, here comes the acquiring target. I'm just going to put a safeguard on the guy who's about to get hurt. That way he hopefully doesn't die. Alright, so this is obviously going a lot better. We've already got 10 million damage done. And on the next pull, I'm going to go into more detail about their barrier abilities, which is actually probably the most important thing in the fight, even more important than the slimes. I'm not sure. But this actually went really well. Our Warlock, or our top DPSer, died here due to AOE. Now I'm trying to type in a raid warning to switch away from magma. Okay, the reason why we switch away from magma. Okay, each boss has a barrier ability. They all do different things, but the bottom line is when the barrier is up, don't attack them. Now there's some exceptions. There are some exceptions. That's more advanced, but it's not necessary to beat the boss. What you want to do, whenever the barrier goes up, is get away from them. Now, 3 of the bosses, Electron, Magmatron, and Toxictron, have more obvious barriers. It actually says barrier on it. For Arcanotron, their barrier ability is actually not called barrier, it's called absorption. It's called energy absorption, or something along those lines. It's something absorption. Now, the absorption one is probably the worst one because it's easy to miss because it doesn't actually say shield or barrier on it. See, okay, if you look into chat log, it says Electron begins to cast unstable shield. So Electron has his barrier up right now. Shield, barrier, same thing. But when the absorption comes up, it's a little easier to miss. So you just have to watch out for that. If you attack the Arcanotron while his absorption is up, he gets more powerful, and then he winds up one-shotting the tank. But I want to tell you this, even though this is not it's easy to do. This is more advanced. The buff that Arcanotron gains when people attack him and makes his damage go up, that can be spell stolen by a mage. So what we did was we told our mage to do something special here, and he didn't do it because he was terrible, but that's okay, it's not important. What we told him to do was, after everyone switched off Arcanotron, have the mage keep attacking Arcanotron to build up that buff, and then steal it before the tank dies. So we wound up not doing that because the mage couldn't handle it, but if you are a mage and you want to do some advanced shit, then that's something you might want to think about. Attack Arcanotron and then spell steal it. But hopefully that works out, but we didn't really get a chance to do it here. Alright, so I think this is where the tank died here, and I'm not sure exactly from what, but regardless, the tank died there. He probably died from Arcanotron, because Arcanotron has a tendency to one-shot the tank. I know in one of these wipes I took like 130k hit from him, and it got one-shotted because of people. There's power conversion, by the way. Our feral druid is being awesome and picking up this boss, but it didn't matter because like all the healers died, so that was a wipe. But a good try anyway, feral druid, if you're watching this. Now there's one more thing. You see that whirlpool? This is partly my fault because it was a little chaotic and I didn't notice it. That whirlpool is an ability that Arcanotron casts on the ground. Anyone in the cloud gains a damage bonus. The whirlpool, excuse me, gains a damage bonus. That includes the bosses. So you want to get the bosses out of the whirlpool, but if you're a DPS, you want to stand in there. And if you're a healer, you want to stand there because it also regenerates mana. So it adds damage and mana. So that's definitely something you want to do if you are a DPS or a healer. So here's the fire again. This time I'm not tanking, so I didn't screw that one up. Again, you can watch that energy, so you see it's ticking down 76, 75. After 25 more, other guy's going to spawn. I was going to go say I was out of intervene range. I was going to intervene him, but it didn't wind up mattering. I don't think you can avoid the flamethrower if it's targeting you. If you look at the achievement, it actually says to kill him with only one person getting hit by each flamethrower. So I think the assumption is the person who's being targeted is getting hit, and there's nothing you can do about it. So if you're getting hit, just make sure it's not pointing at someone and take it. So here's my boss. I just picked him up with a taunt and a heroic throw and get him on the other side. Now I think it's probably better to hold the two together so that incidental AOE can work. I think I mentioned that earlier. Plus it's really easy to put them in the slime. Like we should put them in that slime pool over, or the slime, the poison cloud, excuse me, over there. But it didn't happen. Now here comes slimes. As you see, they're going to get killed really quickly. The warlock is so awesome. He's like the best pug DPS ever. Picks up those slimes like nothing. And the other DPS do a good job of it too. So this is one of our better attempts, I believe, if I remember right. But anyway, so we stay on him. Okay, here comes the next guy, but that's going to be for the other tank to pick up, which he does. Good. Here comes another slime. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's a poison soaked shell. This is his barrier ability. This is his shield ability, poison soaked shell. Now, take out that debuff. It deals 10,000 damage when you attack. So what I do is I let it get on me for one tick, then I wait for his barrier to run out, and then I attack him and do the extra 10,000 damage. That's a pretty nice thing to do as a tank. Okay, here comes the poison cloud, so I'm going to get myself out of the poison cloud, but I'm going to make sure that he's still standing in it. And there, he's got the debuff. And that will increase his damage taken by everyone. So everyone's going to switch to DPS to him, but the timing's bad because he's about to shut down. But there, I just had a 47k crit. I assume that was a shield slam. That's insane. Alright, so here comes the next guy. I had a little bit of trouble picking him out just because I wasn't prepared. So you gotta be careful there. Okay, power conversion. There's the power conversion. Somebody hit him and got his buff, and he turned around and he basically one-shot somebody, and there he murdered me too. Oh, watch this. This is hilarious. Spirit res and then instantly died from the spark. So that was just something amusing. Speaking of amusing, let's look at that death log there. 113,000 from Arcane Annihilator. I said 130 before. It's actually 113, but still, that's a lot. So definitely don't hit him during energy absorption. And that might have been my fault. I might have hit him because I was tanking him.